My name is Tana, and I'm from Microsoft, and I'm here today to walk through some pretty cool Wonder Woman related coding projects with you guys. So, Wonder Woman 1984 is a new movie that either has just come out or is about to come out, and yeah, we're gonna try to do some cool, like, little projects along with it. There's gonna be two of them. So, one of them is decoding a secret message, and the other one is making a personality quiz similar to a BuzzFeed quiz. Yeah, so both of these, we're going to use this language called Python for it. Don't worry if you guys have never used that before. I'll set it up with you here because I actually have a brand new laptop. As you can see, I've tried to record this several times, so I have a bunch of recordings right there. But yeah, so let's just get started and we can walk through it together. So here's the lesson. This is the front page. So we're going to start with decoding a secret message. So let's read about it. I'm going to pause and let you guys read more about it right now. So feel free to pause right now, read it all, this page, and then I'll come back and explain a little bit more. Okay, cool. I'm assuming you paused. So what we have here is we have a secret message. We have this sentence, unleash the power, and then we have a bunch of random words that aren't really words, and the word Y, and then we have some numbers, and some random year. So on the back of this message, it says that it's coming from someone we don't know, we just found on the ground, and that they need a world's famous code breaker, aka us, to solve this message and find the secret Easter egg location. Um, so let's see if we can do it. We'll start off with setting up, an environment so that we can use Python and we can, code this up ourselves. So we can use Visual Studio Code for this. You can use a lot of other editors as well, but this tutorial I'll explain how to do it with Visual Studio Code. So we'll start off with setting it up for either Windows, Mac, or Linux. I'm currently on a Mac, so I'm going to click on the Mac instructions. Alright, okay, so on this Mac instructions, we can first start off with downloading Visual Studio Code. Alright, and I want to download the Mac version. Now, as a disclaimer, I actually did already have Visual Studio Code set up. When you're setting it up, just run it with just the default settings. So for Mac, just open up the zip file and just click agree, and then next, next, next. Don't worry, you can always adjust the settings later if you need to change anything later in a different project. But for this project, we can just go with the default. And same with Windows and same with Linux. You can just use all the defaults. So I actually won't be setting it up, but that's just the process for downloading it. But I will be setting up Python. So let's also download Python. And before I do that, actually, I'll give you guys a small break to set that up. So you can pause and download it and set it up before you keep going. Alright, I hope I gave enough space for pause. Okay, so let's try Python. Alright, so let's just click the big download button. It'll load it up for whatever system you're on. So I'm on Mac, so it's cool. Let's open this up. Alright, so yep, looks good. Yep, looks good. Yep, we will be agreeing to all these licensing. Yep. Yep, this is totally cool. Install. And then password, and yeah, we'll just let that install. Cool. Awesome. Cool. So I believe in a little bit. So for Windows users, while you're installing, oh, that's pretty loud. So for Windows users, while you're installing Python, be sure to follow this specific instruction of adding to path. That's really important. And then you can click install now and you can just follow the default buttons, but make sure you add to path. But for Mac, don't worry, you don't need to do that. You're good to go. Cool. All right, so we're done that. So we're done that step, and I will pause right now again to let you guys catch up and install Python on your own machines. Cool. I think that we are all installed. Cool. Okay, so now that we have that, we can open up VS Code. So opening up my VS Code. And we can get the latest, we can get this Python superpower. So VS Code on its own is great, but sometimes it's nice to have a couple extra superpowers for Python. So if you click on the four squares at the bottom, that's where the extension marketplace is. So I have a couple extensions already. It's really cool. You can change like the look and feel of VS Code. So that's why mine looks a little bit different, because I have this material theme, which I personally really like. But yeah, it might look a little bit stylistically different, your VS Code. I can also disable this so that you guys can see what it looks like normally. Let's just do that actually, so that we're all on the same page. All right, cool. So there we go. So we do want the Python extension. So you want to search for Python and you want to click on the first one. So I actually already had this. So clicked on it, click install, let it install, and we're good to go. Cool. So I'm going to pause just now to let you guys also install. Cool. All right. So let's go on to the next step. Alright, okay, so let's start with creating a folder anywhere that we can find easily. They recommended the documents folder. I'm going to create it on my desktop because I think my desktop is a little bit more empty. So let's do that. So let's go on desktop, new folder, and we're going to call that Wonder Woman. Alright, good to go. Cool. I'll take a little pause if you guys need to find the perfect folder for you to put it in. Alright, okay, so now let's go back to VS Code. And we close that. And normally on the welcome screen, I close the welcome screen, but even if you close it, you'll see right here, you have the options to open a folder. So we want to open a folder. So let's open one. And let's go on our desktop. Perfect. There we go. We have the Wonder Woman folder. Let's open that up. Cool. Yeah, there we go. And we can also close this because we don't need that right now. Cool. All right. So let's create a file called decrypt.py. All right. So I like to create a new file through here at this button or right-clicking on this area. So let's click this button to follow the tutorial exactly. So we want to call it decrypt.py. All right, cool. And you know that your superpower Python extension is working when you see this play button right here. So that allows us to run our code. You'll also see a bunch of these extra like suggestions. You don't need to do it. If you dive deeper into Python later in the future, feel free to download them later. For me right now, I don't want them, so I'm not going to ask for it to keep showing me pop-ups. But, you can always find them later. You can just search for it. So it's all there. Cool. All right, so I'll give you a little pause to create your own file, and you can, close any linter pop-ups or anything like that. All right, cool. Okay, so let's start with just checking if we have everything working. So let's try to print the city, the mascara. So let's see. Let's paste that in there. All right, so we should be able to press play, and it should print that. Cool, so we see it right there. Awesome, cool. So that means that everything's working, our Python magic is working, and we are able to run whatever we type. So all this is doing right now is just printing whatever we want to say. So we can actually say anything else, like we can say your name. You can try that. So hello, I'm Tana. And if you run that again, cool, see? I'm Tana. So you can change that to whatever you like. But if it plays and runs, you're good to go. All right, Okay, so, yep, we did that. So we ran it, we pressed play, and we saw it. Perfect. Cool. All right, so let's go into the basics of Python. So if you already know some stuff about Python, if you played around with it before, you don't need to go through this, but I think this is a good little refresher, so just in case. So let's start with comments. So with Python, we have this and this will definitely get run, but sometimes, we want to like keep little notes to ourselves and we want to know like what's happening, right? But we don't actually want to run. So for example, like let's say we wanted to write something like this. So let's say we want to write um, this. So if we just put this on here just as is, it's going to complain. It doesn't know what this is. This is not real code. But we wanted to keep a note. So how we can write comments in Python is with the hashtag. So that way, this won't actually be considered code. This is just notes for us. So we can say whatever we want. See, we still have hello, I'm Tana printing. We can say whatever we want. So we can say like foo bar, and nothing really changes. It's just notes for ourselves. All right, cool. Yep. So we added a comment and we see that it's the same behavior. Perfect. All right. So I'm gonna pause and let you guys like play around with comments. Cool. Okay. So the next thing we have is variables. So it turns out Python doesn't have a great memory. It tries to remember things, but it can only remember things if you assign a code name to it. So these are called variables. So the way you can set a variable is you can say like, hey, like Diana is equal to Wonder Woman, right? So what this says is Diana, the code name Diana, is equal to the name Wonder Woman. So for example, so let's try it. So let's get rid of this. Let's try Diana is equal to Wonder Woman. And these double quotes, these quotation marks means that it's a name. So there we go. So nothing happens right now just because we didn't do anything. We just said, hey, Diana is equal to Wonder Woman. So let's just check if that actually worked. So we can use this print statement. Oops. All right. Use that. And now what we think we should say is, I believe Diana is actually, and what happens here is that this goes, okay, what's the code? This is a code name, Diana. Okay, what is the value for the code name? Oh, Wonder Woman. So it should print them together like that. So if I want to say, oh, Diana is actually me, for whatever reason, if I change it, what do I expect? I'll take a pause for if you guys want to make guesses. But yeah, so if I change it, that means, okay, the code name was changed to my name. So, you can change it to whatever you want. You can say lion and, everything, it just gets replaced. So yeah, so that's how code names work and that's how variables work. So as you can see, we tried it out and we actually got Wonder Woman. Cool. Okay. And then the last basic that we'll cover is the Python superpowers, which is we call functions. So these are just kind of like these are like set of steps that you can do, and you can say like, hey, we should always do these steps, and then you can use these steps later. So for example, we have this superpower called chant, and with chant, what we want to do is we want to say a phrase 3 times. So we're chanting it, right? So we are giving it a code name of a phrase. So this is going to have some value. And then we want to print it out 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And these plus signs just put them one after another. So kind of like before. So let's try it out with the sample code given. So if we run that, we should have Wonder Woman 3 times. And there's a space in between, so they should look pretty nice. Cool. Yep, we have Wonder Woman 3 times. So once again, you can change this to anything you want. Diana, let's say, and it will run it 3 times. So yeah, and then if you can make it, like, oh, I want to actually do it 4 times, and it will do it 4 times. So that's how you can use codename and you can replace it. And then you can call chant several times if you want. So you can chant Diana, but you can chant like pizza. And so it'll run Diana first, and then I'll run pizza. So what happens is it comes here, it goes, oh, chant, okay, I'm gonna go back up here and I'm gonna run this, and then it goes, okay, cool, I'm done. And then it goes, oh, I see another chant, oh, with pizza, okay, so this is the code name for phrase gets replaced with pizza and then runs this again. So yeah, so those are the basics of Python. I want to keep note that tabbing and spaces is really important. So if you did this, it will not work. So because so what happens is that everything that's under the chat needs to be at least 4 spaces, or not 4, but like at least 1 tab in or spaces in. And then that's how it knows what's under. And you can tell what's under properly through VS Code has this little arrow, so it hides and opens. So like this whole chant, so let's say like, you know, we were actually, for some reason, instead of chanting like this, we wanted to chant on a separate line each time, you know, but we didn't want to write separate line, we wanted to actually do it like this, you know, like we want to do a lot. So if you close it though, it's saying that, okay, when I run chat, all of these are under there. So if I run it, as you can see, there's a lot of Dianas, however many I added there, I believe 6, and then there's 6 pizzas. But yeah, cool. All right, so let's get on to decrypting the note. Okay, so here's the note. All right, so we have a Y, we have 13, okay. So I'll give you guys a second to read, so you can pause and you can read what it says. Cool, all right. So what happened here is that it seems like it's like a Caesar cipher. So how Caesar cipher works is that, you know, you take the letter and then you just shift it by some certain number to scramble it all up and make it look, you know, funky and not the original word. And what we need to do is we need to un-Caesar cipher it or decrypt it so that we can get back the original words. So the Caesar ciphers are Y, Oz, Kaza, and Ohupo. And I believe the numbers below are how much to shift it by. All right. So don't worry, you don't have to figure out how to do this on your own. We have some sample code to do it. So let's start off with putting in the first superpower. Okay. So let's replace all this because we don't need this anymore. All right, so let's go over the superpower just a little bit. So this is lasso letter, and it shifts a letter. So what it does first is it takes the code of the letter. So it takes the letter, whatever words, and lowercases it. So given a letter, if it's a capital A, it'll make a lowercase a. So it'll do that, and then it'll get the number value of the letter. So each letter is associated with a number. This is under the ASCII table. So if you look up ASCII, this word, you can see what each letter and number correspond to. Actually, while we're here, let's just look it up. So ASCII table. Yeah, so I guess we'll click on this. So as you can see, so each, let's see, where's the letter A? So you can see like letter A is associated with the number 65, but letter lowercase a is associated with the number 97. So yeah, so what we're doing here is we go, okay, we want to get the number of this first. Okay, and then what we do is we shift it by however much we want to do. So what we do is we take, we're essentially just taking the letter A, and then we're essentially subtracting the shift amount, we're adding the shift amount, and then this thing, what it does is it gets the remainder of 26. So let's say, like, you know, if we add the shift amount, and then we end up with a number like 35, that's over the 26 letters that we have, so it wraps around. And then, you know, and then we return the original letter again using this superpower that takes the number and makes it back into a letter. You don't need to know the exact details of how this works. Feel free to look it up in your own time, but yeah, this is kind of generally how this superpower works. Cool, so we have that, but, you know, this is only doing one letter at a time, and we need to do the whole word. So we have given another superpower, this one, and we can put this right below. So be careful to make sure you tab in correctly. So right now I'm within the lasso letter superpower still. So I want to back out so that I can be out here. Paste that. Cool. Okay, so this is called lasso word. And what this one does is it takes the whole word and shifts it. So this one was only doing one letter, but we actually need to shift the whole word. So what we do is for each, so this is a for loop. So what happens is for each letter in a word, so we take a word and we take each letter from it, and then what we want to do is we want to lasso letter shift it. So we're using, within this superpower, we're using this superpower, and so that we take each specific letter and we shift it, and then we combine it to the original word. So this plus sign, kind of like how we were doing printing before, just adds letters together when you're printing it. So this plus sign is just taking what letters already here, which at the beginning is no letters, and for each letter that we go through, we shift it and then we put it back in to what we're going to eventually return out here, out of the superpower. All right, so let's test if all this works. So we'll try this phrase. All right, so we have this word Terra, and we want to shift it by 13, and we're going to use lasso word so that we can shift the whole word by 13. So let's try that out. Cool, awesome. So we shift Terra by 13, and we get green, which is what we're expecting. Perfect, cool. All right. So now that we have those superpowers, let's actually try to decrypt the note. Okay, so we need to shift the word Y, Oscar, and Hupo by these numbers. I'm going to pause right now and let you guys do it yourself, and then, I'll come back and show you what I would do. All right, cool. Okay, so let's try Y. Okay, so I'm going to copy it. Notice how it's in uppercase, and remember how in our lasso letter we actually made it lowercase. So this uppercase Y will actually become a lowercase y because each letter will be converted into its lowercase. Just noting that. And we also need to shift it by 13. Okay, that's easy. Just to make it cleaner, I'm going to change this so it's not Terra anymore, but it's Y. Shifted by 13 gives this. So let's try that first. Joel. Okay, so Joel, I think that's for the date July. So July 4th, 1984. All right. Okay, cool. Okay, let's try the other parts. Okay, so we have that. Nope, that's not it. All right, cool. So let's try this. So print shifting this by, it was -18. So shifting this by -18 gives, this /n is just saying put it on a next line. So you notice how here it's not on one line, but it goes to the next line. So that's all that's doing. So we want to say, okay, shifting this by this gives, and then we're going to use our special superpower. You'll see that Visual Studio Code will suggest, superpowers that you've already written, functions that you've already written. So we're going to use this one. And then it also tells you like what code names or parameters it's expecting. So it's expecting a word and how much to shift it by. So a word is this, and remember putting in double quotes. And then how much we want to shift it by was -18. All right. So let's run it again. Okay. So the first part is washi. Okay. So let's try it one more time with the other word. So what do we have? We have ahupo. Okay. Let's try ahupo. It was -1. So we'll try -1. And so we're going to replace this. -1. So shifting ahupo by -1 gives, and then we'll try that. 10. Okay, so we got Washington. So we got July 4th, 1984, Washington, D.C. Cool. All right. Cool. I think we figured out the meeting place and the location. So let's try that. Let's see if we found it. Okay. So the cool thing is, we can make a little program to test if we actually got it right. So we have this code right here. So let's first copy and paste it. It says below the decryption code, so let's copy below. Okay. There we go. So below the decryption code, there we go. Okay, cool. So in this lesson, for this first one, we didn't really cover what these mean. You can get more coverage in the second lesson, but I'll explain a little bit right now. So what we're doing here is we're gathering a response. So we want to make this a program where, we can interact with it. So we can type in. Because right now all we've been doing is we've been coding and then pressing play. But we can't really change what happens, after we press play. It just prints whatever we wrote. But this one we want, we want to press play, ask us a question, we answer the question, and then, we get another question. So what we're doing here is we're getting the input from us on, this question, and then we're scoring this question. So what we're doing is we're saying, hey, okay, so if the response, and we uppercase it so that we can match. So Python's really picky about, if it's a lowercase b and an uppercase b, they won't be the same. So you want to make sure that they're the same. It's kind of like when we're talking about the ASCII table, uppercase b has a value of 66, whereas a lowercase b has a value of 98. So those aren't really the same, and, it's comparing numbers. All right, so we want to uppercase it so that we're both on the same letter size. And then we see, okay, is it B? Are they both the same? So yeah, and then if it is, we're gonna change the score. So we want to, we're just marking ourselves. And then if this is true, so if our response is B, we are subtracting some score from us. Or this elif, which stands for else if, which is really if that's not true, then what about this? So if it's D instead, then we're going to do this. If it's A instead, we're going to do this. All right, so I don't want to tell you too much about the scoring because this is the quiz. So yeah, just paste it in. I'll give you guys a second to run so press play and run the quiz yourself to see if you guys got it. And then I'll run it after. Cool. Okay, so we copy and paste it. Let's see if I got this. Okay, so here, I want to let you guys be able to view it well, because right now it's kind of hard to see. Okay, hopefully that's better. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, all right, so we have July, Washington. Okay, so which day will I try and travel to? Okay, well, I think July 4th, 1984, given we figured out it was July. So I'm going to press D. Just press D and then click enter. So you want to click in the terminal area, type in the letter, click enter. Okay, so cool. So yeah, so we're on July 4th. Okay, and then where do we want to head? Okay, so we're in Washington, D.C. So which of these are in Washington, D.C.? The Grand Canyon is not in Washington, D.C. The White House is. The Empire State Building is not. And the corner coffee shop, that's very random. There is one in Washington, D.C. probably, but I don't think that's the answer. I think the answer is B. So let's see. Cool, yeah, so we got it. We got the Easter egg location. Awesome, and we decrypted the secret note. Awesome. All right, well, big thanks to Audrey from Mount Holyoke College for helping us make this lesson. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to try the next one where we're creating our own little BuzzFeed type quiz, personality quiz. Yeah, but until then, hope you guys have a good rest of your day.